Get you through my morning every day. Every morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adelaide's Jody and Hazy on Nova.
Let's talk about rawdogging, shall we? Oh, very confusing. It keeps on popping up in all sorts of different social media circles. Quick recap for you, Joe. It's a bit of education.
Okay.
Rawdogging a flight means you get on the plane and you do nothing but sit in your seat from takeoff to landing. No movies, no books, no nothing to I suppose, distract you.
Right.
All you're doing, potentially, is just looking at the seat in front of you, and this is all you can hear. For hours and hours. Nothing. The brain can just sit there and do diddly squat.
Oh, that happened to me on a Virgin flight when the in-flight entertainment wasn't working.
No.
The Wi-Fi wasn't working for some reason.
So all you got was this, and then every now and then...
Yeah.
Oh, where am I?
Yeah. So I was raw dogging it like a biatch.
Bet you were. Meditation expert Bryony Gunson has explained that this practice of flying without in-flight entertainment feels like a powerful practice for travellers to reclaim control over their mental and emotional stress.
Oh, see, I didn't see it as an opportunity to do so. I was just bored.
Yeah, see, that's what I think as well. She said, bear in mind that we're constantly bombarded with stimuli and distractions, and vision is one of the most energy-consuming processes in the brain. So, by taking a break from these inputs, it can help reset the nervous system, and the body can rest and the mind can eventually calm the you-know-what down.
Do you know what I was doing then? When you were saying all that, I was raw dogging.
I bet you were.
Look at my pupils.
You raw dog at me a lot, I think. And I can tell because that little bit of dribble sort of eases out the side and the pupils start to veer off into different directions.
We'll start being more interesting, mate.
Well, I'm doing my absolute best. But I feel like if I raw dogged a situation, me alone with my thoughts can be pretty dangerous.
No. You don't have any. It would just. Do you hear in-flight noise or do you just hear tumbleweed?
No, I just hear this every now and then when I'm just about to drift off. And it resets me.
Do you know what I thought it was?
Yeah, I think I know what you thought it was. Can I just say, on behalf of us, as a father of 3 and you as a mother of 4, I think we thought raw dogging meant something completely different.
Well, I thought, given my experience this week with Sid, the killer toy cavoodle, you know, when I told you she went to the vet?
Yeah.
And had a rectal exam?
Yeah, that she got raw dogged.
I thought she was...
Oh, my gosh. Poor Sid. Time to reset.
Here's what you're waking up to, Adelaide.
News. In the news today.
Breaking news.
What's in the news today?
Your post-snooze news.
Speaking of news, I was just having a quick chat with you off air about the story that I did for 10 News First yesterday, which was a horrible story about the Department of Child Protection. Your response is always hilarious. You're just a bit like, oh, yeah.
In my defence, I was doing some other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I had one pupil directed at the desk and one pupil at you. And then we said, oh, yeah, I didn't hear a word you said.
Nothing. None of it. I was talking for a minute and a half.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
This is what it feels like at home, dealing with my husband. Does anyone listen to me? Anyone? At all?
Anyone? Abs? Do you listen?
Abs?
What's going on?
What? All right, let's drill down on the important stories from the last 12 to 24 hours. Abby in the newsroom, what you got?
Yes, so some big news out today. Katy Perry is set to become the latest pop star to headline the AFL Grand Final.
Thoughts on this?
I like it.
I have some other news, though, in regards to this, and I think it's definitely happening, much to Hazy's discussed. So, new music is on the way from Katy Perry. She's announcing she'll release a new album on September 20. So what a perfect way to kick that off by doing the grand final.
That's how they got her, eh?
Boom.
I just... I feel like, and this is a bit of a... in fact, I like the song. Shake the hips, ladies. Real banger, isn't it? You just sort of wonder if Katy Perry is top shelf right now. Do you know what I mean? For example, a few years ago, the AFL brought out the black-eyed Fergie-less peas.
Right.
And that felt like a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
Why can't we just hone in on some good homegrown talent? Do you know what? This is all I'll tell you, all that we need is Mark Seymour with an acoustic guitar. That's all we need for AFL Grand Final.
Are you saying that you don't support women, Hazy?
Wow.
She's just trying to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Her and Orlando and their kid.
Yeah, what, via menu log?
Oh, this is why I think it's happening, because she'll release this new album September 20, and the lead single A Woman's World is out today, so we'll be replaying that in your ears.
That feels very Shania girl power, doesn't it? Man, I feel like a woman.
Can't wait.
Okay. I will argue with you on this one, because Katy Perry's like Rihanna. It doesn't matter that she hasn't had a hit in like what seems forever.
Yeah, and look at Rihanna at Super Bowl. She smashed that while pregnant, I might add.
Yeah. Okay. Look, that's a very good point. I'd be very happy to be wrong in this space.
Who else would you like to see apart from a bloke who had a hit
Well,
the better part of 2 decades?
bring
ago?
back Meatloaf. Because he's dead. Meatloaf is awful, by the way.
Do you know what? Hazy's angry because they didn't pick him. That's what it is.
So true.
Yeah.
That is so true. I'm going to send the AFL some of your work from the Lions circa 2013.
Keep it simple. No, I'd say just keep it simple. Australian artists, save some money. Hunters and Collectors, The Temper Trap. You know what you get.
They've done it all.
What about the Killers?
I know they've done it all. Killers pretty good.
But they're international.
It's just a waste of money.
What about the Foo Fighters?
Foo Fighters would be very good.
They'd be amazing.
I don't think Foo Fighters.
Okay, what about another idea? You know how we have Australian Idol or The Voice? Why don't we let the people who want to audition, do it on grand final day? So they get up there and the crowd goes boo or no. Like, that'd be great. Some entertainment for the ones who are really bad.
Platform of the AFL Grand Final pre-show entertainment's becoming, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that person whose parents just didn't simply have the heart to tell them, darling, you can't sing.
Yeah.
Gets up there on grand final day in front of 90,000 people and has a crack.
How good would it be?
Yes. Yeah, 100,000 people telling you no good. That's good. That's good for confidence, isn't it? Oh, do you know what? 0400 919 919. Text us through. Who should be performing at the AFL Grand Final?
Also,
Who should they go
2410. Give us a call. Tell Georgia. She'd love to hear from you this morning.
Yeah.
I have a question. How do you deal with rude people? More specifically, how do you deal with rude kids?
Oh, that's tough because there's no reasoning.
So I had a situation last week where a girlfriend of mine gave me a call and she said, oh my God. So my daughter has just had a friend over for a sleepover. Okay. Very quiet child, didn't say too much, but she said she didn't use her manners for the whole time that she was at my house. And I was like, really? Like, in what situation? She was like, oh, well, served up dinner and there was no sort of thank you and there was no cleaning up dishes and there was no making the bed in the morning. And then when this child left the next day, walked out the front door and there was no thank you for having me. And so this girlfriend of mine was like, I can't abide by that. I can't abide by rudeness. So the question she had is, do I tell the parents that in a subtle, delicate way that your child's a bit rude?
Yeah. Unbelievable scenes. What I would say is the child is 1.5, by the way. So
No, I think the child was old enough to know better.
So age bracket? Like what sort of?
Oh, so around sort of 9, 10-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. Were your parents strict on manners growing up? Because mine certainly were.
Strict on manners. I got smacked by other people.
What?
Yeah.
Jeez, they did things different on the farm, didn't they?
In the country New South Wales. I remember getting a little smack from from my friend's dad, and we absolutely probably deserved it. Not these days. It's a different time, of course. But then I think my parents found out, and they were like, well, you probably deserve it. Like, can you imagine now? If you got word that somebody else smacked your kid?
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't do it yourself, let alone someone else.
Absolutely not. Oh, my God. I love that you've gone to Deirdre, your mum, and gone, oh, Mr. James smacked me, waiting for like a bit of defence. And she's like, well, you probably deserved it, darling.
Good, he should have done it hard. I'm like, Mum, that's not fair. Went straight to the room.
Yeah.
This is a tricky one, isn't it? Because how are you supposed to address it with the parents?
Well, I don't know. It's hard. And because I feel like if my friend had addressed it with the other parent, then they come off looking like a bit of a peon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very, very tricky territory. But I want to know on 13 24 10, rudeness. How do you deal with it? Do you confront it head on, or are you like Andrew Hayes and just pretend it never happened? And
Just bottle it up.
You're such a people pleaser.
Just bottle it up, and then at a really, really inappropriate time, it'll probably just rear its ugly head.
Yeah.
Perhaps after a couple of beers, who knows?
Just really do what he does. Suppress your emotions
Mm-hmm.
and your anger. And then after, 3 or 4 Carlton drafts,
At the Christmas party.
you just completely and utterly lose your mind and flip tables.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
It's a really interesting one. Do you confront it, or
Really
do
healthy.
you just sort of let it go through to the keeper?
No, see, I don't. You say that you will, and you say, I'm going to say this, and then you never do.
Nah.
Like, confrontation is really hard.
I know. And the worst thing is you lay in bed that night and you go, should have said that.
Yeah.
That was the perfect zinger.
That's it. I'm going to say this, and then you never do.
No, you never do. You just swallow all that emotion and go, ugh, and then it eats you up on the inside.
Yeah. Do you have a way to get rid of that emotion?
Breathe.
Like, is it just breathe?
Breathe.
So for me, it used to be boxing. If you go to the gym and box,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
To hit something and make it constructive, it's nice.
I want to ask you those situations that really make you so angry.
Yeah. Yeah, I had one. You know the guys that try and sell you stuff as you're going into the shopping centre? And it's usually a charity.
Yeah.
They're the guys who sometimes just sort of, they get you in the wrong time, first of all, because you're always in a rush.
You were having a day, weren't you, when
I
you
was having a
encountered this
day.
guy?
There was a bloke, and this was at North Adelaide, the North Adelaide Village or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And they get you in a spot where you've got to go past them.
Yeah.
And I was in my gym gear, and a bloke stopped, and I think he called me Muscles. He's like, oh, g'day, Muscles. Look at you. Obviously, after the gym, geez, you work out, don't you? What can you bench? And I've just accidentally reacted and gone,
no.
go away, you dickhead. That. And his face just sort of dropped. And
no.
was almost about to say sorry, but then I was like, oh, it's too late. I'm
Oh,
walking
my
past.
God. Oh, see, that's out of character for you. You're usually...
You call someone Muscles.
Yeah, you've got to expect what's coming.
G'day, Muscles.
Do you know when I go from 0 to 100, when you stop and let someone in
Yeah.
the traffic, and you have sat there for a good 20, 30 seconds and waited for them, and they cannot be bothered to even just lift one little index finger off the steering wheel to say thank you.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
There's 2 options here. You're either almost best mates because they've waved to you.
Yeah.
Or you are the biggest DH in the world because
Yeah.
you didn't wave. There's
Yeah.
nowhere in between.
Yeah. Because your head's so far up your own backside that you can't thank another human being for going out of their way to let you. I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
Get you a boxing bag.
Don't go me, mate. You're the one that called a charity worker.
Calm down there, Muscles.
Let's go to Quinn. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you on this very, very miserable day? It's lovely to speak to you very, very wonderful people.
Oh, that's so
nice of you.
nice, Quinn.
Appreciate the use of the words very, very, Quinn. Well done.
She's a woman after your own heart. Oh, dear. Quinn, you've been in this situation with someone else's kid.
Yeah. So I actually have had a similar situation. I have an autistic teenage son who has another friend who is on the spectrum as well.
Yeah.
So there's another layer of learning there to be had, and he was quite rude, and I actually pulled him up on the situation and said, hey, we use our manners in this house. Like, lead by example is how I see it.
Yeah.
And I 100% would have pulled that little girl up and, sort of said, hey, like, real gentle, because she's only a little kid.
Yeah.
But, and then I would have pulled the parents aside after and said, hey, like, is she okay? Did she not want to be here? Or, but maybe sort of looked into it a bit more, and I would have been real gentle about it and not made the parents feel like, teach a kid how to do stuff, with the manners.
Yeah, and I think when you're right, like if you come at it from the is everything all right angle, then it's a lot softer and gentler, isn't it? Rather than your kid's a little, what.
Yeah, well, I can say that about my own, but I'm not going to say that about someone else.
So true. Gwen, thank you so much for your call. Let's go to Danielle. Hello.
Morning, guys.
Good morning. How do you deal with rude people?
Oh, lay it on thick. I think in the fact we have a lot of children visiting our house, especially over this time. We're all in school holidays.
Yes.
We just lay it on thick. We just use it as much as we possibly can to one another, and and thank the child for helping, or just use prompts and different angles to sort of say that we appreciate each other while we're doing stuff.
Yeah. Kill them with kindness.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I had a girlfriend who, whenever she encountered rude people in the shops, would always turn around and go, "Happy in your job, are you?"
That's taken it to the next level, isn't it?
That's good enough. Let's go to Ruth. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Yes, we're good. How do you deal with it?
I'm a nurse and we get really, really badly abused. Like we get called every single name under the sun that you can possibly think of.
Are you kidding?
Oh, no, I'm not joking. And normally it's from people who should know better. Like, so we get called every name under the sun, but the ruder the person is, the nicer I am.
Yeah.
And I will smile and I will say nothing and I will be so nice and it drives them absolutely bananas. They hate it. The nicer I am, they absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
So do they change their tune after that as well, Ruth? Because I feel like, particularly on social media, if, for example, if I get an aggressive X from someone, a tweet, if I respond nicely back to them, I would say 99 times out of 100, they completely change their tune.
Sometimes they do, and sometimes it just makes them angrier, but the angrier they get, the nicer I get.
I love that from you, Ruth.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Particularly, it makes my blood boil. Speaking of going from 0 to 100, when people abuse people who are trying to help them.
Yes.
Ruth is a nurse.
Yes, she's a nurse.
Ambulance workers get it all the time.
Oh, that blows your mind, doesn't it? That ambulance workers get abused or harassed in a situation like that. Good morning to you, Cassie. How do you deal with it?
Good morning. So it's not actually me, it's my dad. And just a slight backstory, my dad is the nicest guy in the world, right? But he was in our local food land and he encountered like a really rude person and he just automatically picked up a sweet potato and threw it at them.
A sweet potato as the weapon of choice. How did it go?
Yes. Yeah, he did. So funny.
Oh.
Yeah, so out of character for him, but that's just how he felt he had to deal with it that day.
Yeah.
And it worked.
What was the aftermath? Like, did your dad have to apologise or did he feel good about it? Or what did the other person do?
He just felt good about it, and the other guy just kind of, I think, was just in shock, like didn't really do anything, and then they just went their separate ways.
Who throws a sweet potato?
Yeah, you try. Hazy would try something like that, Cassie, but he'd grab like a snow pea or something. Try and whack.
Good weapon.
Oh, Cassie, thank you so much.
Let's get ready to rumble. Ladies and gentlemen, Battle of the Bangers.
Ah, yes. What a beautiful space where you got two people who, just for the next sort of couple of minutes, couldn't hate each other more. That's fair, isn't it, Joe?
There's venom.
It's venom, I tell you what. 13 to 8, I'm leading Battle of the Bangers, where we just choose one of those songs on a Friday, which we just know is going to get you up and about and in the mood.
What astounds me is that people continue to get around you in Battle of the Bangers and your song when you continue to be completely and utterly obnoxious and gross in this space.
Oh, whoa. Them's fighting words if I've ever heard them.
Well, you just said we hate each other.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
You reckon you're fastly approaching me from behind, eh? Well, stay your distance, please.
I mean, I wouldn't have put it like that, but anyway.
That is inappropriate and I will take you to HR.
Okay, the theme for this week is, it's school holidays, road trips, cars, etc.
Yes.
And then also getting stuck on the O-Bahn. So.
Yep, 100%.
Yep.
So, you want to go first? What have you got?
I would like to go first, and my song is by an absolute rock star, like the quintessential rock star, The Weeknd.
Oh, okay.
Bit of Blinding Lights, please.
Oh. Good tune. Now explain to us why this is linked to driving.
Cars have headlights, headlights are lights, cars, headlights, lights, blinding cars, lights. There you go.
Quite the bow there, isn't it? Interesting. And isn't that the most streamed song of all time or something?
Is that?
Blinding Lights?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Blinding Lights?
I didn't Google
it. There you go. Whole heap of research once again to Jodie's selection. All right, so you've got The Weeknd Blinding Lights up against, and you mentioned it before, the O-Bahn, another victim. So this feels appropriate. Another one bites the dust. Theme song from the O-Barn. Just claiming another victim. Well done to the O-Barn. So just picture yourself. You're driving and all of a sudden you see a sign that says, do not go this way. And you say, you know what, I'm going to go that way anyway.
Yeah, wrong way, go back.
And then, boop, all of a sudden you're on your
I'll tell you
O-Barn.
what, there's not just one sign that says wrong way, go back. There's about 8 in a row.
There's a few? Yeah. All right, Queen, Another One Bites the Dust. Two very, very different songs. I like that.
You've gone real old school.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, Granddad.
Oh, okay. The little jabs on the side make this such a beautiful competitive space. Get voting at Jodie and Hazy on Instagram. Winning song will be announced tomorrow morning at 8. It's Battle of the Bangers. Jodes, we spoke a couple of weeks ago during the holidays. Just a random phone call. It was really, really nice, but unfortunately took a really, really savage turn. Do you remember what happened?
Yes, I think so. Was this you in the park where you blatantly gaslit your daughter?
No, that's a completely separate...
Oh, okay.
You leave my private gaslighting situations with my daughter out of this, please. No, it was when I received a phone call from you and all I could hear was this. This is Jodie. And you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? So halfway through the conversation, I had to stop you and go, what the hell's going on? You're like, oh, I'm just eating a chicken salad.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And me and a chicken salad, no man stands between the two of us.
No.
So when I got one, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. So it wasn't like that. It was more like this. You'd hear your voice while you were eating. Like it was like it was your last meal. So I had to say, Joe, for goodness sake, like this is a beautiful friendship that we have.
Yep.
But the number one rule, can you not eat like with a giant mouthful while we're on the phone together?
Okay, why have you waited to bring this up on air? Why couldn't you have just said at the time, hey, do you want to call me back when you've finished inhaling that salad?
I don't know. I feel like now I'm comfortable, I'm ready, and this feels like an open, safe platform.
Well, okay. Well, that's a discussion we'll have off air. There's very few things that annoy you. One is lateness.
Yep.
2 is brought or bought.
Yes, that's the other one.
Which I say incorrectly.
Which I was just about to bring up.
Were you really?
Which I was just about to board up, by the way. If you have been tuning in for a while, you will understand that Jodie, at the age of 35?
Yeah.
Doesn't know the difference between brought and bought. So bought, buy, brought, bring. Can't do it.
If you bought something, you bite it. Oh, hang on. Wait.
Oh, my God.
You couldn't script this kind of stuff.
This is ridiculous.
Wait.
It does your head in too, doesn't it, producer?
This is the thing, Jodie, and I think you might have started to notice it now. Every time you say incorrectly, Hazy and I have like a visceral reaction in the studio and just look at each other, and it kind of gives us a bit of a twitch because I feel like we've explained it a few times to you. And it's us trying to help you be better.
No. Well, I think this is kind of on you two. Like, it speaks...
All right, here we go.
It speaks to your lack of patience. It speaks to your lack of empathy.
Oh, boy.
And it speaks to your lack of understanding of the human that you work with. So if you guys can't deal with it, then, well...
Right, okay. I'll just give you a heads up. Next time that you call me with a mouthful, and then you pair that with saying that you just brought a chicken salad from the shop, then you're going to get this. That's me. That's me exploding. And I'll tell you what, you're going to come visit me at the hospital, and you're going to go, what happened? Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, I just went to the chemist and brought some medicine. That's it. I'm done. Death, and it'll be your fault.
And I'll be pleased. And then I'll go and brought you some flowers for your funeral.
You'll be sitting there, what happened?
Controversial little article doing the rounds on the internet yesterday. So a couple have visited Guzmani Gomez, which is the Mexican place, fast food place.
Delicious.
And there is a photo of them sitting there eating their lunch, but they've sparked an absolute barrage of hate because they let their dog sit on the countertop next to them while they ate. Have you seen this? I'm going to show you.
Oh, my gosh. I'll ask you this question for free. Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
It's the age-old question, Joe. Bringing your dog.
It's a cute dog. Let me preface it by saying that cute dog should be on a leash out the front of the Guzmani Gomez.
What if it's cold?
I don't care.
What if it gets stolen?
That dog's little butthole is sitting where people eat their food.
How do you know for a fact that it's pressing its butthole against the counter?
Because you can see that. How else does a dog sit but other than on their butthole?
It's not a cat. Cats will do that on purpose. They know exactly what they're doing.
Do they?
They press their bums against your skin. You're like, I can feel your doot on my arm.
What?
Your little doot on my arm. It's very disturbing.
Your little doot.
I mean, the fights and arguments I have with my cat Houston are out of control. Get your doot off me there.
You have such cat issues. It's hilarious.
I do. I need to see someone about it, I think.
Well, you paint cats in this really sort of like they're deliberately malicious and vindictive light.
Yeah, because they gaslight you. We spoke about this earlier in the week. The cases of people reporting being gaslit by their cats.
Yeah, right.
But now we're talking about the good guys, and that is the dogs. I don't really have a problem with this, as long as the dog doesn't do anything wrong.
Are you joking?
Well,
I'm putting this in your face. You don't have a problem with a dog sitting on a bench where you eat, because let me paint this picture for you. Sometimes if I'm having a meal and I drop a little chip on the bench and I do this thought process and I think that'll be all right.
Yeah.
That'll be all right to eat that.
Yeah.
Not if I know there's been a doot there.
Yeah, okay. Do it. But also, if you're getting this sort of feedback from the dog, then that becomes a little bit dangerous.
Goodness gracious me.
Yeah.
That is disgusting. And they've done a poll and overwhelmingly people have gone, you pair of grots.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, speaking of grots, newsreader Abby, you've got 2 dogs. You've got 2 dogs. Where won't you take your 2 dogs? And they are aggressive at times. Let's be honest.
Everywhere. I like to get away from them as much as possible. Like, I love them. I let them sleep in my bed last night. But they are annoying to take out.
Yeah.
Tank's friendly, but as soon as you get right up to his face, he'll bark at you. And Tori's just scared of everything.
Tori hates men.
And Tori hates men, exactly.
Tori's a man hater.
She's got some trauma there.
Just like mum.
Correct.
She was taught very well. She was taught well.
She was taught from the best.
But no, if I can, like, go for a walk, fine. If you go to a cafe, if you've got the dogs, you know that you need to sit out the front because that's what you do. If I walked into even McDonald's or whatever, if I was at any fast food restaurant, I would not want to see a dog sitting on a counter.
And from a woman who spent the better part of her morning cleaning up my little Sid's diarrhea from all around the house. I don't want Sid's diarrhea, but on a counter of a food place.
Yeah, so that's a little bit different. So if it's post-diarrhea, then yes, I don't think any dog should be resting their doot anywhere because that's a little bit dangerous. But pre-diarrhea, I have no problem with it whatsoever.
And Jodie, if Sid eats everything, so when we drop anything on the floor, I just go, housekeeping, and they come over and they eat it up. It keeps the floors clean.
That's handy. That's really handy. I guess we're divided on this particular subject.
Keep your dog's doot to yourself.
I think that's something we can all live by.
I think so.
So to speak.